Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of 60 Minutes in Black America. Mike's taking off for tonight, so I'm going to be filling in. I'm Jasmine Pollack. We're going to get into a lot of great topics in sports. We'll be right back.
Welcome to a special edition of 60 Minutes in Black America. Regular host Michael Haney is taking the night off. Jasmine Pollack, the host of First Impressions Sports Talk, is filling in. Stay tuned for lively conversation and debate about a wide variety of sports topics. And now, here's Jasmine.
Welcome back to 60 Minutes in Black America. I'm Jasmine Pollack hosting tonight. And some of the topics we're going to get into tonight is regarding all things sports. And of course, the biggest topic of the week was safety, Bills safety, Damar Hamlin taking a horrific accident on a field against the Bengals on Monday Night Football. He is currently okay. He is breathing. He is talking. He was watching the game today. His Bills end up beating the Patriots to lock in that second seed. So there's a lot going on. The whole sports world had a great outpour for him. Everyone was showing their support. There was a lot of love being shown, and it just showed, that we all can unify, that we all can support a player like him that is young, that is striving to be better, that's striving to be at the top of his game. And he was a great young player. So I'm really excited to talk about this conversation and just really happy to see that he is back and healthy and hopefully he can get back out there for his team. So before we get into these topics, let's bring on Dr. Cedric Brown to talk a little bit with him. So let's bring in Dr. Cedric Brown. Hi, Dr. Cedric.
Hey, Jasmine, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's a pleasure having you back. I know we talked months and months ago on my show, but it's great to have a conversation with you. How are you doing?
I'm well. Just getting acclimated to the new job at Lewis and Clark Community College as the AD there, and just trying to take one step at a time. And a happy New Year.
Yeah, happy New Year to everyone as well. But I'm really excited to have this conversation with you, even when we get into the college football, being that you're an athletic director. I know you have a lot of ideas and thoughts about these topics. Also, Dr. Cedric Brown, you're coming up with a show this coming February. Talk to us about that.
It is. It's the AD's View with Dr. Cedric Brown, produced by LTG. And I'm really excited about it because it is going to encompass a lot of things, not just athletics, but it's going to talk about education and family and faith and, social issues and how collectively that faith can bring all those things together. So I'm really excited about it, and it's going to be a fun-filled adventure for me, a new adventure.
Absolutely, and to mention that starts February 5th at 7:15 p.m. That's when you can catch Dr. Cedric Brown talking about all the things he's just mentioned. So let's bring in Ramisha. Let's talk about this Damar Hamlin situation. Now, I watched this game real time. It was very horrifying because, this was a big game for football to decide, the seeding in the playoffs, the Bills, the Bengals, Chiefs, top dogs in the AFC conference. And that happened at 8:55 p.m. He ends up being taken to the hospital around 10 o'clock. So Remy, what was your reaction to what happened? And have you ever seen anything like that before?
Honestly, I was shocked. No, I've never seen anything like that before. But I think it's a realization of the brain of our lives and our bodies are so fragile. And just the whole controversy of everything going on at the time, after the time, and going on with his recovery, just him being treated as a person, not a NFL player or anything of that such. It's not about the game. It's not about the league. It's about him and his survival.
Yeah, I agree with that. Dr. Cedric Brown, for you, being that you're athletic director, what was your thoughts? Did you see this real time? And in all of your years watching sports, have you seen anything like this?
No, nothing like this, because it was a ventricular fibrillation that occurred to him, which when he got hit in his chest, the heart muscles started to flutter, and the oxygen that normally goes to his brain left because the heart didn't function correctly. Then that's when he lost consciousness and fell. But the one thing that I think in all of this that was probably the most miraculous is that the NFL had the wherewithal to have as many medical professionals there in their protocol, because it was an assistant medical professional that helped in his recovery. And it wasn't the full-time medical doctor or anything like that, but everyone that was there played an important role of making sure that Damar had the proper treatment that he needed at that particular time, because I believe he had lost his breath and breathing for about 10 minutes in total. So, but he's very blessed, and there was an outpour of prayers and an outpour of faith around him that helped him get through. And it just goes to show you that when the country really puts their mind to it, that we can come together.
Absolutely, and I love that explanation. Not to mention that trainer was Denny Kellington. He was he rushed right to the scene. They performed CPR for 10 minutes, and also he was on an AED. So that was a very serious situation. And it was just seeing that moment, even though it was a scary moment, seeing the players and the fans in the Bengals stadium corral, and they, hovered around and, showing their support. And even after the fact, that was really amazing to see the fans, the commentators, everyone just showing their love to Damar. And I'm thankful that he is awake. He was on FaceTime with his players after they won against the Patriots today in a big way. So that was a really big thing. And you just saw the fans. You could tell the team was playing for him today. You could tell that they rallied around that, and they said, wearing the number 3, everyone just showing their support for him. So shout out to him. But I wanted to read something that was very interesting about his contract. So Damar, he was signed to the team for 4 years, $3.64 million. And if he was put on injured reserve, he wouldn't get as much. But what they did, instead, the team and the National Players Association came together and fixed his contract, so that way he can play and he can still get his fully guaranteed contract, which I thought was really awesome for him. So hopefully Damar comes back healthy. We'll love to see that guy play, because I thought he was a very good player at the age of 24. He was young, he was up and coming, and there was a lot of things going on. But Dr. Cedric Brown, let's get into let's pivot to the whole controversy. Did the NFL get it right? The question was, they took too long to call the game. Did they really say 5 minutes? The teams just go in the locker room for 5 minutes and just come back out. What was your reaction to the NFL, and did they get it correct?
I think that they could have worked sooner to come to the resolution that they did with regards to either suspending or postponing the game entirely. As you said before, it was not about the game. It was about Damar, and it was about his livelihood, and it was about him continuing to be with us. So I can't say that I'm a huge fan of Roger Goodell as the commissioner of the NFL with some of the decisions that he's made. I do believe that the Bills and the Bengals approached it the right way. The coaches took control of the situation and said, "Nah, we're not gonna play." Right. And I don't know who the owners are of those two organizations, but those owners should have said right away, "No, we're not going to play," because what they did for Damar with his contract is going to actually pay dividends for the Bills organization, because they took care of one of their own. And so they may have lost some funds and revenue on the front end with, not being able to play that game and concessions and merchandising and all those things. But on the back end, with taking care of one of their players, especially what Buffalo's gone through with, mass shootings and other things that they've gone through in the last 18 months.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that the Players Association and all the others involved did the right thing, right? I'm not so sure if I agree that the NFL handled that situation correctly.
I agree. And there was a lot of reports going around that I saw on Twitter, because I know Twitter was on fire that night, about the teams were the ones, the coaches were the ones that called up to New York, down the street essentially, to get them to call the game off. There's a lot of people that are upset, and like you said, the coaches did a good job of rallying the players. Let's go back to the locker room. Let's just take a breather, and we're not playing this game like that, especially, in that magnitude of how that happened. It was a very scary situation. So I don't know if the NFL got it correct. I think it took too long because he got injured at 8:55. It took 10 minutes to perform CPR, get him in the ambulance to send him off to urgent care, and then you announce it at 10:05. We're calling it off. It didn't seem right. It felt like, it was one of those situations where the NFL did what it always does, just lingers and waits and different things like that. But thank God, it's all about Damar. At the end of the day, he's healthy. Oh, well, he's getting better. He's back in shape. I'm glad that he was able to see his team perform the way they did. But deeper in that, and we have Jeremiah with us. Jeremiah, the whole seeding conversation was going crazy this whole week. The question was, okay, even though it's still about Damar, what was going to happen with the seeding? What was going to happen with the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Bengals? Because we all know those teams were competing. So that game had huge magnitude. Now the Chiefs have the number 1 seed, the Bills locked up the 2nd, and the Bengals have the 3. The Bengals couldn't even compete for that 1 seed. What was your reaction to that? And were the Bengals, were they right to be upset? And we did see their player today, he flipped the coin for his celebration. What was that like for you? What was your reaction to that?
Oh, that's a good question, because I actually do agree with the Bengals when it comes to it, only because how it went on earlier in the season. The Bengals beat the Chiefs, and even the Bills beat the Chiefs, and they're stuck in a bad scenario for themselves, while everybody else gets the cookie, while they just really get nothing at the end of the day. And I just feel like it was really unfair to them. And especially when it was up against the Bills game. In that Bills game, they was ahead. So I feel like they got the worst of it. But at the same time, I just know that when it comes to the Bengals, they play like underdogs at the end of the day themselves.
They do.
So I'm pretty sure they're going to use that as fuel going forward. Because like this is like the playoffs are, it's like 0-0 right now. Don't matter like which field advantage who has and all these things like that. But still at the same time, I felt like the NFL should actually not go so quick with putting these things out, but actually took their time and actually went over each scenario for each team. I just feel like it was too in favor of the Chiefs in a way. You already know they're about to have the Raiders right now, so it's going to be an easy one, while the other ones, they had kind of competitive opponents.
They did. And when you look at it too, when it comes to this, we're still thinking about Damar, but the whole conversation is now the Bengals and Bills beat the Chiefs already this year. But it seemed like, we're just going to we already knew the Chiefs were going to beat the Raiders yesterday. We already knew that. And here's the number 1 seed to the Chiefs. And I'm like, well, the Bengals and Bills should have something to say about that since they already beat them. And I felt like that whole situation was kind of weird. If not, it should have been between the Bills and the Bengals to be able to compete for that number 1 seed, and then Chiefs maybe get the 2 or 3, maybe. But I don't know if the Chiefs should be the number 1 seed right now based off of that information with the Bills and Bengals beating them already. Dr. Cedric, what do you think about that, the whole seeding situation?
It's a tough situation with that. You have a game that's not played, and so you have one less game for the Bengals, and I know that they have been playing very strong football over the last several weeks. If they get an opportunity to play the Chiefs, I do believe that it's not going to be an upset. I think that it's going to be an outright win by the Cincinnati Bengals, because you know, with Burrow and the way that he plays, and you know, and Chase and what he's doing right now at the wide receiver spot.
Yeah.
I just think that they're so young that they don't really realize that they should be, you know, in championship series, right? You know, Burrow played in the national championship the year before he came, you know, to the NFL. So he has a championship pedigree. So I just think that it's bulletin board material for them, and it's going to be a way that they continue to motivate themselves to play. They don't have to see the Chiefs until the AFC Championship. So you know, one stays away from three, so they don't have to see them. So I mean, they have to go and play the Bills. Now, are they going to make them play at Orchard Park, or will they, you know, flip a coin and do all those things? So I just think that that's a dangerous thing. I mean, I think they swatted the hornet's nest, and they just woke up a beast. And I think that the Bengals are going to be very motivated to play against both the Bills and the Chiefs.
And I see Mike's comment here. Bengals made it out, got a home game, and the lowly Baltimore Ravens at home. Well, that's true because the Bengals and Ravens play next week in the wild card game. So we'll definitely see what happens with that. I know playoff football is right next week, so I get the NFL had to make a hasty decision. We got the playoffs coming up. It's the last week. We have to make an adjustment. But I feel like the Bengals are the wrong team to make angry because they're already playing with an underdog status. They already can play with these teams. They beat the Chiefs already. You know, they're at home against the Bills team. They were leading in that game before Damar's injury. And now you do this to them. You make them angry. So you already put them in the back burner already. They already didn't get the benefit of anything. So if I'm the AFC, I'm a little worried about the Bengals. They're a scary team. They have a quarterback that can deliver. They have a receiving core. They have a defense. I think, to me, they have the best defense out of all the teams that are in the playoffs. But it's going to be very interesting. I'm really excited for the playoffs to start. You know, my Packers, if they win tonight, we're in. So it's just a lot of stuff going on today. But let's head into a different segment. We're going to talk about the college football playoffs and the championship that is tomorrow. So we know TCU and Georgia will be playing tomorrow. Whoa, did any of us see this happening? Like Georgia and TCU? Maybe we saw Georgia, but TCU. Go ahead, Dr. Cedric Brown.
I did. I saw TCU playing at a high level because people don't understand that TCU, before this coach got there, TCU was good.
They were.
They were good then, right? And so now you have seniors that were probably freshmen and sophomores before coach came in, and they're good. And I have a goddaughter. My wife Linda and I have a goddaughter, or niece, excuse me, that goes to TCU, and she is experiencing something that most students don't get to experience right now. And it's fun. And let me say one more thing before the FCS championship just happened today, and my alma mater, the South Dakota State Jackrabbits, won their first national championship in school history today. So I had to just throw that in there real quick.
Shout out to them for sure. Shout out to them because that's awesome. Like I get those, like these championships, they get thrown kind of under the bus. Like, oh, we're only focused on Georgia and TCU and all that, but
the FBS
are out here playing. They're playing very well. The FCS is a good conference. I like that whole conference, and it's awesome because, you know, it shows that there's a lot of talent all across the board. It's not just Georgia and TCU. There's a lot of talent everywhere. But man, I saw TCU. I remember even before to piggyback off what you said, Dr. Cedric Brown, was TCU has always been good. They've always been a team that's always lingered around the top 10, but just never made it, made that adjustment. But now they have a quarterback, they have a running game, they have a defense that can take the ball away, and they put up 51 on Michigan.
Right.
Michigan. Now, everyone was raving about Michigan. And, Jim, I'm going to get to you because I remember when they played Ohio State. Oh, Michigan, are they the best team now? They went in there and they beat Ohio State in the Big O. They did all that. And Jim Harbaugh again has lost in a big game like that again in the playoffs. So Jeremiah, to you, TCU, was it more on Michigan or TCU? Who had the upper hand in that?
For this game, I would give a small, not saying a small percent, but I'll give a good percentage to TCU. But it was just god awful by the Michigan because 2 pick sixes. I mean, you just
Yeah.
can't. That is unexcusable. Getting that far because it just seems like Michigan would get that close, but then they'll always be in their way. Always find a way to
Agreed.
get inside their way. And that's just almost the same thing with Ohio State. I thought that they was going to go for it, but they playing against a great, Georgia team. But TCU, we saw them against when it came to their championship game against their was it their division?
It was against it was in the Big 12.
The Big 12 championship.
Yes, the Big 12 championship. And we was thinking, I don't know, should they really get back into that spot? No, afterwards. I know you were saying that. And then have the way that they show and just, exclamate just off of their mistakes off the bat.
They lost to Kansas State.
State, yes.
To Kansas State, exactly. And many people was questioning. But TCU did something which was phenomenal. Come out the box and just proved a lot of people wrong to just be like, okay, we had a little mess up, but we're gonna stand strong and stand right here because I believe that was their only loss within the year, right? And that right there is just very special, because you always have your Georgia that's right there, but then a lot of people was diminishing the TCU because they'll be like, we don't know this other college like that bigger than than Georgia, but they're standing strong, and I give them a fighter's chance actually on Monday.
Yeah, I agree. When I looking at this college football playoff, when we saw Ohio State versus Georgia and we saw TCU versus Michigan, this was the best college football playoff I've seen since the committee created the playoffs. Because we've seen when it started, you saw a lot of blowout games in these, and you're just like, man, this team doesn't even deserve to be playing against the Alabama or a Michigan or a Georgia. They didn't even deserve to be here. But now we saw some competitive games that went to the last second. I'm like, this is what we've been waiting for, some college football where these top teams are playing against each other to the last minute. Both games went to the last second. Literally, both games did. But TCU dropping 51 on Michigan was wow. That was a wow moment because I didn't see that happening. I wanted TCU to win because I don't like Michigan. But I was like, 51 is a lot of points in a game like that against Michigan where you're an underdog in that game. And even when Michigan came from, they beat up on Purdue in the Big Ten championship. They beat up Ohio State in Ohio State. And then that happened. So I was really shocked. And then when I look at Georgia and Ohio State misses the field goal. I get all that. But if I'm Georgia, I'm a little worried because if Ohio State put up numbers like that, TCU can score and they can run the ball and they can take the ball away. So I think if I'm Georgia, I'm not overlooking this game. Anyone, do not overlook this game at all. I don't think it's going to be a blow. I think this game is going to be one of those historically great college football games. What do you think, Dr. Cedric Brown?
If Stetson Bennett throws the football more than 35 times in that game, they will lose. They have to establish a running game against TCU in order to win the game. One, because they have to win the possession battle. They cannot allow TCU to have a greater possession than they do, right? Because in the Michigan game, one, they didn't have their main running back.
Nope.
He didn't play, right? And so, even though they took the linebacker and put him at running back because he played running back in high school, and he did a good job. He did a remarkable job. But if you don't win the possession battle and if you don't win the turnover battle, you won't beat TCU because they are a lot like the University of Kentucky. I believe it was 1994, those cardiac cats. They are just like those teams that Tubby Smith had at Kentucky. They just find a way and they keep coming and they keep coming. If you give them an opportunity, if you let them stay around, it'll be a long night for you.
Yes, and this Georgia team is not the Georgia team of last year. Because when I look at it, I don't think Georgia's defense is the same. How last year was they were just terrorizing people. But this year, when I look at TCU has been hungry all season. They've been lingering around all season in that top 10. Nobody was talking about TCU. No one. And I'm like, man, TCU they might have something to say because they've always lingered. And now they've made it to that point. I think Michigan overlooked them. I think, we're Michigan. No, they came in there and they said, we're not doing this. And their quarterback, I love their quarterback. I love TCU's quarterback. He is a gamer. He is not afraid, and he's a veteran. He's been here. He's been in big games before, and I'm really excited because I really want to see a new conference win. Even though the SEC has been leading for the longest, for a decade now, been leading the charge, but it's time for a new team. Now I just love the storyline, a new team. No one's never heard of the Horned Frogs, things like that. We need that. Yes, we need that. So I'm going for TCU because I despise Georgia. I don't like Georgia. I'm a Gators fan. So Georgia's a no-no. I'm going for TCU. And I'll say TCU by 10. I got TCU by 10.
Wow. I do. I'm sorry, Jeremiah. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. I was just gonna say my prediction. I actually have this. I have TCU by a field goal.
A field goal, okay.
By a field goal.
Dr. Cedric Brown.
I do think that TCU will pull off the upset, and I think that it'll be a 1-point ball game. I think it'll be a 1 point. I think it'll be a 1-point ball game, and it's people are counting them out already.
Yes.
They're counting them out already, and the one thing that is making parity so great, right? Parity in football, parity in college basketball is the transfer portal.
Yes.
Right? Because you have some young men that I always told my athletes that you're probably, when you're being recruited, you're probably better at a level below what you're being recruited at, unless you're one of those top 15 players in the country. You're better at the level below because you're going to have a greater experience, right? Some of those players that are good at that Power 5 level, right? Mm-hmm. Or at the FCS level, but didn't get a shot, they leave and go to the transfer portal and they go to another level. I mean, look at the young man, the receiver from Jackson State.
Yeah, Travis Hunter. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I mean, he was supposed to be a Power 5 guy, right? Didn't get the looks, the opportunity, came to Coach Sanders, and now look, I think that he's going to light up him and tomorrow they're going to light it up at yes. Colorado. I think so.
And we're going to get into those guys in a few minutes because I have a lot to say, especially with Ed Reed too. Now he's the coach at Bethune-Cookman. So we're going to take a little break. So if you guys want to see episodes of Jasmine's First Impression Sports Talk, if you want to be a guest on my show, you can go to my website at jasmineonsports.com and also subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Jasmine's First Impression Sports Talk. My show airs on Mondays at 3:30 p.m. You can check it out on any platform from YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, different things like that. I'll be posting a lot of clips. And I have my guest Jeremiah, I have my guest Remy, I have my guest Dr. Cedric Brown, and we're talking all things sports. So let's get into that man, Dion Sanders. So the whole controversy, he left Jackson State. Oh my gosh, he's so bad. Why did he leave this team like that? What is he doing? When he always said this is not a long-term thing anyway, but people missed it. So Jeremiah, I want to start with you. Now he's at Colorado State. He's at the Power 5 school. Colorado State finished 1-10 last season. I believe they're going to be a totally different team. But Jeremiah, what was your reaction to, I know we talked about it before, but let's talk about it again. What was your reaction to him going to Colorado State? Or Colorado, excuse me.
Well, for me, him going to Colorado, I was kind of, mixed about it, only because it came out of nowhere. Because I knew he was going to leave, but I didn't think, a school like Colorado But then at the same time, watching that interview he had with Shannon Sharp, everything else on Shannon's podcast, it made me have a bigger perspective of seeing from his standpoint when it came to everything else. Because I know a lot of us, we can see our standpoint from it. But for him, he's setting, of course, his family up, but also he's trying to make a statement for himself to be like, I'm here as a coach. Not saying that, I'm just going to be just staying at HBUs, because he has done so much for the HBCUs within these past years that you can't even think of. But right now, it's important for him to get that respect when it comes to around the whole league, to being like, I'm here. I can compete whatever school that you guys want to put against me, like the Alabama's, Texas A&M, and everything else. This is just me building my block stone of just going up and up. And I just feel like that's just such a pivotal thing to do right now in his career, being as a coach. And this allows other ones to just follow his footsteps right down, because you have so many of these legendary franchises, which is like, of course, like I said, Alabama's, the Texas A&M, LSU. But you need to have some new schools in the picture. You need to have some new faces around, because it's a new generation right now, new athletes. And I know when it comes to a lot of these NFL players, they're about to come out, and coaching is about to hit at a skyrocket right now.
I agree. And we do have a video for that when Coach Sanders accepted the job. So let's see that press conference.
You've made a tremendous impact at the HBCUs. I guess, how difficult was the decision to leave what you started there?
Tremendous. Because it wasn't about the X's and O's or the wins and losses. It was about those kids. It was about looking at the faces of those kids, knowing that I'm being ready. God is getting ready to elevate me. I'm sorry. God is getting ready to elevate me. Usually a coach is terminated or elevated. Thank God I'm elevated. But still, the journey is not complete. Some of the things that we accomplished there about bringing understanding and notoriety to certain falsities or non-committal things that are done in Power Fives, maybe God is using me to be the catalyst, to make you think and to make you just fathom another way, to make us feel unthreatened when someone of the other ethnicity is approaching, to just make us feel good about today. Maybe God is really using me to open doors at this level. The thing that alarms me the most is just because I'm leaving Jackson, they think that I'm leaving African Americans. I don't know if you noticed or not, but I'm black. I can never leave who I am and what I am and how I am and how I go about being that. So it is still my task to look in that locker room and see 65 to 70% of African American men trying to help them get to the next level, as well as all the others. My calling is for young men, young women, and people of all walks of life, all social climates, and all ethnicities. That's my calling. My calling is not built on a location. It's built on a destination. Now that was good. You're supposed to clap for that. Darn it, that was good. You give me some of my good stuff. We just getting started. I already went in the bag, baby. Let's go.
Man, I love that. I love Coach Sanders because he has never been afraid, even though he played football before I was born, seeing the clips and seeing my parents talk about it. He's never shied away from the moment. He is prime time. That is, he should trademark that. But Dr. Brown, what was your reaction to his press conference with that? What was your thoughts to what he had to say?
Well, I look at it through multiple lenses, right? So you have the lens of a community that is destitute, is hurting, needs some type of invigoration to, make their community more sustainable, right? And then you have this charismatic individual that comes into Jackson, Mississippi, and literally changes it, 180 degrees. Mm-hmm. And therefore, I think a period of, 4 years, maybe 5 years, and then he moves on, right? And again, when we talked about the Damar situation, right, it took it took that situation for everybody to come together, right?
Right.
And so where is the grace in everyone where you have a professional, right, who, like you said before, Jasmine, was not committal to being there forever, and did say that, you know, he would always entertain opportunities to better himself as a professional. And we're coaches, right? When it is in us to, one, always be a teacher and a mentor for young people, right? But we also have to look at the growth and the professional development of ourselves, right? I see the comment that Mr. Haney said that, you know, everybody has a price. Well, from a professional standpoint, he didn't need the money. What Dion Sanders needed was the ability to perform at the highest level. I mean, let's think about who we're talking about. We're talking about a two-sport athlete that in the height of his career scored a touchdown and hit a home run in the same day.
Yep.
Right? And so, you know, it's hard for me to jump on somebody's understanding when they say that, you know, he's doing it for the wrong reasons, and because all I can see is how much more Jackson State has because of the experience, right?
Exactly.
And how much more the HBCUs. There was no HBCU that had ever been on College Game Day.
Ever.
Ever. And now, you know, that is occurring. And I'm sure ESPN, ABC will understand the when they talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, they will start to include HBCUs more and more if they want to continue to reap the benefits of patronizing our community.
Right. And before, my reaction to it was, I was like, I knew he was going to leave. I knew that he already set out to say, this is not a long-term thing. This is not something I'm gonna entertain it, like you said. It was like so soon. I was like, dang, that quick. I mean, it's already been 3 years, that kind of thing. I actually wanted him to go to USF, where I'm at, down here at University of South Florida, because I know he's a Florida boy. He's from here. And I know the reason why that deal didn't fall through, and I read some of the details, was USF didn't want to give him the full ownership of the team the way Colorado just gave, here are the keys, you drive, we'll just sit back, whatever you need, we're here. Whereas USF was like, we want this still here, we want this still here, you can do this, but we're still going to do this. And I feel like Dion said, no, I'm capable of doing all these things, I'm capable of taking over this whole organization, and Colorado gave him the best option to do that. Now his son's starting QB, you're going to have a lot of players coming in, and you can see it already now. They jumped from, they were at 78 in the transfer rankings. Now they're in the top 10 because Dion is there. Because so many guys are starting to move over there to Colorado. Like, oh, Dion's over there? Oh, I'm going. And he's able to talk to the parents. He's able to say, who's going to deny Coach Prime coming in your home and saying, hey, your son can come play for me? That kind of thing. I mean, I'm like, no. Who would say no to him? So it's like, and I know Nick Saban, Dabo Swinney, all those guys, Ryan Day, Kirby Smart, they're watching this. They are not happy about this. They know, like, Colorado is going to be a problem. They were a good program years before, but now you add someone like Dion, you give him the equipment, you give him the funding, you give him the players. You're in a big conference now. Oh, it's game time. I think. Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Cedric.
And so, playing in the Pac-12, you have USC and UCLA leaving to go to the Big Ten, right? Stanford's in the Pac-12. You have Cal in the Pac-12. So there's going to be an opportunity for Dion to come in and make some noise, I believe in that, and probably not in that first year, but that second year. But it also, what people don't talk about a lot, but you did hit on, is the move was not just for him. The move was for his son.
Yeah.
Right? His son now gets to play at the highest level, right? And if he plays anything like he played at Jackson State, if he plays like that at Colorado, right? He is a, first, second, third round draft pick as a quarterback playing in the NFL.
Right. And now he can compete for a Heisman. Now he can be in those conversations. And it's said that when he was with Jackson State, he wasn't able to get those same conversations, which didn't make any sense. He's still a phenomenal player. I think now you just give him more ammunition. Now you're able to get a lot of these, top players. You're able to recruit these top players now. And now he's going to be in that conversation to be talked about for a Heisman. I really think, and not to mention, Dion has a daughter that played at Jackson State also. She played there. So now she's probably going to transfer and play for that school.
Volleyball, right? Volleyball, right?
Things going on, right? And there's a lot of things going on. So it wasn't just Dion. It's not just, Dion did this. No, he has kids that also are still playing. Their college athletes are now moving to Colorado, and they could put Colorado on the map in a particular way. So for me, I'm all for it because I think he's going to do a lot of great things for Colorado. And I think a lot of those other coaches that I mentioned they are paying attention. Because even before, Nick Saban said some things about, recruiting and getting these guys. They're paying attention. They're not happy that, especially Prime, who's been in the league, he is arguably, and he is the best corner that's ever played all these different things. So he has a lot of things that he can do, and you just gave him a lot more resources now. And I saw the comment that Mike said it wasn't about, I thought you said it wasn't about the money. I don't think it is. Me personally, I don't think it's about the money because it was never about, Dion has money. I mean, I got it. I mean, I'm Dion, I'm primetime. It's about the exposure. It's about Black coaches getting that opportunity for sure. Right. It's about that. Yeah. And, and you get a coach like him to bring all these players together and able to recruit and get these players to transfer. Now you're giving more leeway to Black coaches. He's paving the way for that. And look, Ed Reed, let's talk about that. Ed Reed, now the head coach at Bethune-Cookman. That's the example we're talking about.
Amazing.
It started with Dion. Dion opened that door. He created the foundation, the groundwork. Here comes another top player, Ed Reed, now the head coach at Bethune-Cookman. Dr. Cedric, what is your reaction to this? And could he have the same success that Dion did at Bethune?
I believe so, because I believe that Ed Reed is the same type of gentleman with character, with heart, with the love of the game, the love to mentor young men. And he comes from a championship pedigree, right? I mean, he's been in college and in the pros. He's been around it, and both Dion and both Ed Reed get to be their authentic selves at HBCUs. They get to be their authentic self. I mean, Dion had dripping in the gold, and Ed Reed that way, and Ed Reed is a big cigar guy and things like, I mean, they get to be themselves, but you also look and see Dion, I think is going to be his authentic self at Colorado.
Right.
He's going to be more polished, the polish that he has, like when he was a commentator with NFL Network and with all this, he's going to be more of that. He's going to show those young people, black young kids, white young kids, what it is to not only be yourself, but to go and be somebody that you can be more polished and everything. And the one thing that you said about his son had a great NIL deal with Beats by Dre, right? So his son has money. I believe that they went so that they could have a better opportunity, so that there are Heisman opportunities. There are, chances to play for, FBS, there's a chance to play in the Rose Bowl, those types of things that they don't have those, playing in HBCUs in their championships.
Right. And not to mention too, even Dion even mentioned about the sponsors and the donors when he was at Jackson State. A lot of them weren't picking up the phone or wanted to help out with a lot of different things. So now you go to a Power 5 school, you go to a D1 school, a big school like Colorado, where there's a bunch of donors. You got alumni coming back and giving a bunch of money. You have just a lot of sponsorship in the state of Colorado. Hopefully they can learn from that and give Ed Reed some help. And the big thing that for Ed Reed, he has to go in there. You have to recruit the D linemen. You have to recruit the O linemen. In college football, it's all about the D line and O line and QBs and different things like that. It's all about that. So if he's able to go in there and talk, and I believe he can. He has the experience, champion. He won championships, and he won Defensive Player of the Year in 2004. So this is not just a regular person. This is Ed Reed. Played it for one of the most historically great defenses in Baltimore. So I hope that he's able to get the same exposure that Dion. And I hope they don't, do the same thing they did with Dion. I hope it's all a learning experience. Do the same thing for Ed Reed as well. But Jeremiah, for Ed Reed too, he was with the Canes. He's on the staff for the Canes, and then he goes to Bethune-Cookman. What was his role for the Canes, Jeremiah?
Well, mostly his role was, of course, you can't put him nowhere except for defense.
Yeah.
In his mind for those young players, he was always on them when it came to getting at them, because he's very old school within his play. You already know how he came about with him, and of course that old Canes team back then in the day, and plus when he drafted, it was hard hitting football, and it's all about hard work. And I just feel like when he was in Miami right now, he can do his thing, but it's only to a certain extent. Right now, him having his own power, gonna talk to these young men and actually put things in front of them for his and their perspective. Because in order for an athlete to reach you, you gotta sell them on what you're dreaming right now.
Right.
Because that's all these athletes are going to want. You gotta make them play for you at the end of the day. You gotta make them put their bodies online. You gotta make them, get out there and try to get that W. It's not about the turnover chains. It's not about, you have to love what you're wearing right now and play for your one another, have your brothers back. And that's what an HBCU, especially a Bethune-Cookman, stands for. I know it doesn't have the biggest athletic program right now, kind of low key, but at the same time, the history and just the different people that's there, being around since the 60s and even just a little bit before, the history just goes back, and with all those resources that's there and a big name like him, he will bring this team into a bigger talks, just like how it was with Jackson State. And I just can't wait to see it.
And I remember there was a conversation too before when Dion first got hired at Jackson State. There was a question if maybe Ray Lewis could start, if he would resurface and start, looking into particular things like that. I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like when Dion made this move, when Dion went to Jackson State and did what he did, now you have those guys falling behind and say, I think maybe we have something here. And I saw a comment from Mike, changing the dynamics of sports. And I agree with that. I do. I want to see HBCUs rise. I want to see HBCUs be successful. But at the same time, if people like Dion, people like Ed Reed, some of our top athletes are coming back, we have to be 100% behind them. We have to make sure we're giving them the right funding, giving them and making sure that, they have the best chances of competing at the highest level. And I don't think this is the end of Jackson State at all. I feel like they can still come in there and still do what they do, because the sky's the limit. Dion gave them the blueprint. Now that they can still, and I'm sure if somebody from the organization called him and say, hey, Dion, we need help with this, I'm sure he would give certain particular things, certain advice. I believe he can do that.
Right.
But it's just the support. It's all about the support. It's all about the exposure. And when you have people like Dion, when you have people like Ed Reed, and then the ones to come, you have to give them the best. You have to give them the best possible options. You have to give them exposure. You have to help them. So I just feel that's the whole situation. I know Dion is going to excel at a great level with Colorado. I think he has. You give him the pieces. Now it's game time. Now we're talking championships. He's about to embark on something that is great. I mean, he's gonna dominate this league. I believe it 100%. But let's get into LeBron James. Let's go to that King James, who celebrated a birthday last week, and now there's conversation of him breaking that record. Now let's get the number. He is 459 points away from breaking Kareem's record of being the all-time leading scorer ever. So, Dr. Cedric, is LeBron going to break that record this season?
Yes. If he continues to average the 29 points a game that he does, you're looking at 14, 15 basketball games. So you're looking, the way that they're playing in the NBA, you're probably looking at mid-February, something like that, around that time. But absolutely. Health, being good, staying healthy. I do believe that he will break that record. Now I'm a LeBron fan, not a Laker fan. I'm a LeBron fan, and I just wish that he could they would put people around him to help his greatness, right? Because LeBron really is not someone that would like to average 29 points a game. LeBron would really like to average like 15 or 16 assists a game, right? And have 3 or 4 or 5 people around him averaging double figures, right? Because when you look at even when they won it in the bubble, LeBron was doing a whole lot, but you had others that were around him that he was almost averaging a triple double when they won in the bubble, right? And LeBron, in the interview that they did with him, he says, "I'm a pass first guy." I never thought that, I would be in this situation right here, because I'd rather, do something to make somebody else better than to score the ball. So
I'm seeing this comment right now, and I just can't help but laugh. LeBron James, he is a bum. How about Donovan Mitchell? Ja Morant is the best basketball player on the planet. Now, Mike.
Is Mike?
I'm not doing that.
Is he from Memphis? Where's Mike from? Is Mike from?
Mike's from Baltimore.
Oh, okay. Well, they don't. Who's the last Baltimore player that was really good? Muggsy Bogues, him, or
goodness.
Reggie Miller, or from Georgetown, Reggie from Georgia. So.
No way. Listen, okay, Donovan Mitchell's phenomenal. The Cavs look good. Okay. He scored 70 points. Okay. But seriously, Ja Morant being the best basketball player, no way. First of all, when I look at the Memphis Grizzlies, now I like the young Memphis Grizzlies. I like Ja Morant. But where I step back is where they start talking. Like, oh, they're building a dynasty, or he's saying, oh, I could do this to Jordan. No, sir. No. There's no dynasty. There's none of that right now. You have to win first to start talking about a dynasty.
Right.
And he has to stay healthy. He has health problems. He stays on the injured reserve list always. There's some nights he does well, and nights he's like, okay, Ja Morant's injured. He has an elbow. He has a knee. He has this. No. But when I look at LeBron, and like you said, Dr. Cedric, I'm a huge LeBron fan. He is my favorite player ever. I'm not a Lakers fan by any stretch of the imagination either. I want LeBron to win. I do. Because I look at the league right now. Of course, he's not getting any younger. You have a lot of young guys coming up and dominating, like Luka. You still got Curry. You got Durant. You got a lot of players still playing at the highest level, and he is too. But all these teams have, role players that are dominating. You have players that are still playing at the highest level. When we look at the Warriors, Steph Curry is injured right now, but you still have Clay, you still have Jordan Poole, you still have guys that can still win it for him. If LeBron plays, if he doesn't play, I can't guarantee the Lakers are going to continue to win, even though they did win without AD and LeBron the other night. But still, like, consistently, no. But LeBron needs those players around him. He needs those players that he can kick it out to. They shoot a three and different things like that. And he needs a healthy Anthony Davis. He needs a healthy Anthony Davis. That's always been the question. Anthony Davis can be a top player if he wanted to, if he stayed healthy, because
Right.
his skill set is ridiculous. His skill, he's just that, he's that big. He can score. He can go to the hoop. He can do a lot of different things, but the health has always been his kryptonite. And that's always been the question about him. Now, I saw Oren's comment. LeBron does not need to retire right now. It's not time for LeBron to retire. He's still playing at the highest of level. Same thing with Brady, even though, man, in my back of my head, like, why is Brady still here? But them guys are still playing at the highest of level. They're still dominating. Now, for Brady, you went to 10 Super Bowls. You have 7 rings. I don't know. He should, because nobody's going to catch Brady. But LeBron, I think LeBron still has some championships to go in order to, be comfortable.
Ja Morant's not even one of the top 10 players in the league right now.
Oh.
No, because who are the best 2 players right now this year in the NBA? Luka and our boy from the Bucks.
Giannis, yeah.
Yeah. And of course, you can still go down the list.
Tatum in front of him too.
And Jay Tatum.
Yeah. He said size matters. LeBron isn't even in the top 50 players of all time. Wait a minute.
Okay, now
you're
talking foolish. You're talking
so
foolish now.
Mr. Haney just trying to stir the pot. That's what he's trying to do.
Yes.
Brady is the man.
Right.
Yes, Brady is the man. But LeBron, come on. LeBron is top 50.
Because
LeBron is in the tops of top. Like there's just no.
If you were gonna start a franchise, right, and you're talking about players that have played the game, right? So if you said, I want to start a franchise based on their experience, who would you pick? Absolutely, you would put LeBron James in the top 50 of all those people, along with Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan.
LeBron's up there.
He's up
because
there.
I'm gonna give you just 2 things that separate these players today from a LeBron James. One, durability, staying healthy with the longevity that he has.
20 years.
And also IQ. How many players in this league do you know as a huge IQ as LeBron has, to where his mind thinks as a Magic Johnson, but at the same time he's in his own realm when it comes to knowing which place. He's almost like a whole playbook. He knows everything from the back of his hand without even having to look at the thing, because he knows it's just like the back of his hand where these players are going to be, his passes are going to be right at the exact in a percentage that you are going to shoot in. Like those right there, you can never really take for granted. This guy is 38 years old right now. And since turning 38 years old, he's been averaging 38 points per game.
Ridiculous.
Just in these 5 games right here, and that's ridiculous.
Insane.
That's ridiculous.
And not to mention, just to add a little cherry on top, there's not a lot of teams that I've seen that have joined together to beat one person the way the Warriors did when they got Durant. Because there was no way that the Warriors were going to beat LeBron and them after they won in 2016 if they didn't we have to go get Durant. Because how LeBron and Kyrie and them stormed back from 3-1, which has never been done before, and win how they did against a 73-win Warriors team. I've never seen it happen. I don't think we're going to see one man. Okay, we got a bunch together. We got to get everybody on board to beat this one man.
Right.
And even he scored 51 in that first game by himself. I just don't.
And that's so scary about, such all-star players, just as Michael Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron. You can beat them that one game, but you got to see them the next day again. That is the hardest part about that.
And who was the third best player on the Cavs team at that time? You would argue, somebody would say Kevin Love, someone would say J.R. Smith. You had Delonte was on that squad.
Yeah.
And his, what he was doing with Ron's mom and all that type of stuff, but you had 2 players on that team and LeBron stepped out, because LeBron is not, everybody tries to compare LeBron to Michael Jordan and to Kobe Bryant. He is not that guy. He's not that killer Mamba mentality, rip your
Exactly.
heart out. That is not LeBron James. LeBron would rather pass the ball to let somebody else take the shot than take the shot himself.
Exactly. And I just feel he gets knocked for that so much because we're so used to seeing guys like Jordan and Kobe who were phenomenal. They were killers. But LeBron, to me, is a universal guy. He's a universal player. He's going to, in each category, LeBron's going to do his thing in each category. On the defensive side of the ball and the offensive side of the ball, we're getting his teammates uplifted.
Right.
He's just a different type of player. That's just what he is.
And can I say one more thing? Magic, this guy done this coming into the league at the age of 18. Literally, I'm 18 coming out of high school. I don't know a lot of things. But him coming with so much demeanor and keeping himself in such a professional manner and to actually live up to the hype, that's a hard thing to do.
And also what he's doing off the court as well. He's a billionaire while he's playing, averaging 29 points. I mean, this is crazy.
And a great father and a great husband.
Exactly.
Yes.
And LeBron is a storyline himself. LeBron has a whole story that you can just talk about for years. He's interesting. You could always say, "Oh man, he's 3-6, man, or 4-6." But there's so many questions that you could say about this.
Charles Barkley doesn't have one.
Exactly. But they criticize LeBron. But anyway, but I think LeBron will get this record, and when he gets this record, I want to see what the conversation is going to be then, because this man he's the all-time scorer ever.
Right.
He's literally like almost on like every list right now. It's crazy.
He's literally on the top of. He's even top 10 in 3-point shooting, but they say he's a bad 3-point shooter.
And he's got a movie coming out next Friday.
Exactly. So I mean, LeBron is just LeBron is it. But let's bring in Ramisha to wrap this up. We're going to talk about 2023 and our goals for this upcoming year. So I know Remy has graduated. Shout out to her. She's also my executive producer for my show. Jeremiah's a guest on my show. Cedric Brown, you've been on my show before. We've had a lot of great conversations. We are here in 2023, you guys. I mean, it's been a week. How are you guys feeling? Dr. Cedric Brown, we're going to start with you. How are you feeling? It's been a week since we've been in 2023. How are we feeling?
Blessed, very blessed. I was in church service today, and the service was around Psalms 23 today. Talking about, the Lord, is our shepherd, and He's there to protect us and to guide us, and He's there to give us, thoughts to make choices and opportunities. So I think that 23 is going to be, an opportunity for everyone to, to make the choices that we need to make. I'm glad that I'm able to be around such a young and vibrant group of young professionals, because I'm in a realm that is very new to me, right? You all are the LeBron Jameses, and I'm the young rookie coming in to this realm, right? But I've had other experiences that hopefully can help you all to mature and grow and develop in what you want to do. So my goal hopefully is to learn in 23 and then to help others with what I know so that I can help them to mature and find, what their goals are as well.
Absolutely. Well said. And Dr. Cedric Brown, it's always a pleasure to, having these conversations too, and just picking each other's brains and really listening to our goals and aspirations, and having these conversations is always fun because it's all learning. It's never too late to learn. You can never be too young or too old to learn. You know what I mean? So it's just amazing that we can have a platform where we can speak about these things and have great conversations like this. It's awesome. And Remy, for us three, Jeremiah and me, we walk in April. We graduate in April, like literally cap and gown, everything. So Remy, what is your 2023 looking like for Ramisha? What does it look like for Ramisha?
If I can sum it up, balance. I was watching a sermon last week, and I was able to grasp the word and form some goals in 4 different areas. And after talking to a friend, she actually inspired me to look at it from a different perspective. So my intellectual goals, I just want to learn everything that God wants to teach me in this year, and also read 4 books. I just thought about just the different segments in the year, try to, read and dissect so that I can effectively learn what I'm reading. Physical goals, I want to become the best me, athletically and fundamentally, like structural. Also, I want to learn how to become a coach and try to execute that by the end of the year. Spiritually, I want to deeper my relationship with God intimately and learn how to keep him first. And socially, balance there, because I'm kind of terrible socially. I can be. And I just want to execute what God wants my ministry to be like this year.
That's awesome, Remy.
That's
amazing.
awesome.
It's a beautiful thing too, Remy, because we've seen you evolve, in many different aspects. Even being at school, us being friends and everything like that. It's just awesome that we see our growth in each other. We see man, I was that like a week ago or a year ago, and now boom, you know what I mean? So it's powerful. For me, Remy, I think I can agree. I have the same things, but for me, definitely having the faith and not worry about too much, not worry about a lot of things, and just allow God to move and allow God to work.
Yes.
Because I know there's so many times where, you're like, okay, we're graduating, we got careers and this, we got to do this, we got to do that. And I'm just like, wait a minute, just back up. Let me just relax. Let God move. He is putting the stepping stones in place, and have faith in that. Believe in that, and just continue to work hard. Continue to do what I'm doing, like what I'm doing now, and allow God to open those doors, and not open the doors myself. Because one thing I've learned even in 2022, and what I'm transferring that to this year, is God's will should be my will. He knows what he wants for me. He knows what he wants for all of us. And we all have our own journey, and we have to allow him to guide us through that. And I feel like that's probably my biggest thing right now. And definitely family and friends. That's the biggest thing. Like even the people here, like the production team, those are the important things right there. This is the importance right here. Building connections, building friendships, and developing, strong connections. Even with Mike, having like this is awesome. I don't even have the words.
Thank you, Mike.
But it's just having the production team, having you guys as friends, and having the the mentorship of a lot of people, having our families, even some of the professors that'll look out for us. Those are the important things to me. So definitely cherishing those moments, and just having fun, having faith in God, and continue to be better each and every day. That's my 2023.
I love it.
And for me, my 2023 is just getting the job done. For myself, I just feel like, just no more excuses, no excuses at the end of the day, because as a mindset, you don't really want to think of that. For myself, just a closer relationship with God, because I know for myself, having talks with him always, all the time, either if it's just you sitting down just by yourself, you thinking that you're having breakfast by yourself, but you're having breakfast with God at the same time. You could be talking to him like you talk to your friend. He is your father at the end of the day. So sitting down with him, having a certain connection, even be a lot of questions that you're asking that's probably not going to be there, but it's okay to ask, and never using him as a genie. And also just having that relationship with him to just know that you're not never afraid to be there, and just always just thanking for a lot of things that he has done. Because I know just for myself, no excuse, because I want to be in the best shape of my life when it comes to mentally and also physically. Like you already know, I already told you, I want to get in like boxer shape, like, because right now I just look like Doughboy. I don't know what I'm doing right now, but I want to get, I just have big goals for myself, especially going into a different type of manhood that I am right now, about to graduate.
Right.
It's all about stepping up to the plate, taking no excuses. And if things don't even work out in your way, never question them. Just keep moving forward. Be thankful for all the people that you do have around you. And that's why I just always want to do, just show my thanks throughout this whole year, my appreciation, because life is so precious, especially in the time that we are right now. So many things are happening with so many of these different shootings. A lot of people, you're not understanding what's going on mentally with a lot of different people. That's why it's very important to just talk to your family members, talk to the people that you love, and just cherish those times that you have with them. And just also spend and have some fun. That's the biggest thing for me.
Let me say one more thing, Jasmine, before I go, and let me give you all a little nugget. A lot of times we talk, we say, where one door closes, God will open a window, right? And those are true. Those are true things. What we don't often talk about is the hell in the hallway, right? Mm-hmm. Between the blessing. So the door, right, and the window, that, that's one blessing here, there's another blessing here. Well, there's hell in the hallway between those two blessings, right? And it is very imperative that young people, old people, always understand that he's still with you as you're going through that hell. Right. He's still with you. And it's even more imperative that you find your faith. You find, that time at the breakfast table. You find that meditation time that Remy was talking about, or you find that time that you were talking about, Jasmine, with family or whomever helps you to that point, because he can get quiet, right? But he's still there. He's still there. So I really applaud all of you for your perseverance, and I congratulate you, pre-congratulate you on your graduation and everything, because if I was, if I knew then what you all know now, I'd have been killing it. Bill Gates wouldn't have anything on me.
For real, I agree with that. But
because you all are killing the game. You are killing the game.
Thank you.
We're thankful to have mentors like yourself, and even, like I said, our production crew, Mike. Yes. There's a lot of people that are looking out for us. A lot of people that, That's they awesome. Don't have to do. You guys don't have to do this, and it's just, it shows that God, in a way, he's speaking again, even though we may not be paying attention, he's speaking to us now. And it's just, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for everyone here. I'm thankful for everybody that I have in my life that is still here in 2023, pushing me to that next level. I'm very thankful for that.
Absolutely.
Very thankful.
Amen.
Well, thank you, Jasmine, for standing in for Mr. Mike, and yes. his antics. Thank you for standing in for him.
Yes, and on that note, thank you all. Thank you guys for watching 60 Minutes in Black America. I'm Jasmine Pollack. You'll see me tomorrow on my show for First Impression Sports Talk at 3:30. We'll be talking more about football. We're going to be talking more about what's going on with Damar, just a bunch of different things that are happening in the sports world. If you want to see past episodes of my show, you can go to my website at jasmineonsports.com. See you guys next time. Have a good night.